Psych, I'm back. Mataponte here. Happy Monday to you all. It is Monday, January 3rd, 2021. Very exciting day. This is my first official work day. I need to make sure that we are live here on, we are live on Facebook. Let's make sure, go live now, post on timeline. All right. Sue. Okay, it looks like we are live on Facebook, so just want to make sure that is going. So in this video, I'm going to share with you 5 reasons that work from home or professionals or entrepreneurs, business owners are experiencing burnout. Now, I thought that this video would be really fitting to start the year off because I do have a book coming out on January 15th, and it's called Kicking Ass and Taking Names, the ultimate guide to mastering your day without burning out. Now, I've been an entrepreneur for over 12 years now, and I know what it's like to be burned out. I know what it's like to work 80-hour weeks, and I know what it's like to try and to find that balance where you can still feel like you're being successful and actually be successful, but then still live a real life. So I see we have some people joining us now. Thank you all for joining. I have my notes here, and I want to keep this live pretty specific and pretty to the point here. So everybody knows that being burned out is not fun, especially if you are an entrepreneur or work from home, because when you're getting paid for the amount of work that you're doing, that might be great because you don't have a boss. But when you're not feeling so good and you're tired and you can't really focus on the work that is at hand, then you end up having a problem because the amount of income that you make is based on the amount of output that you do. So in this video, I'm going to go over 5 things that's very common, that are causing entrepreneurs, work from home professionals to burn out. In this way, you might be able to identify some of these things, and I'm going to share with you a couple tips on what you can do also to avoid that. So number 1 is taking on too much work. Now, this might be the most obvious of taking on too much work. Of course, you're going to get burnt out, but it's a trap that we all easily fall into. And the reason being is because it's driven by like a fear-based decision, right? Well, what if we don't have enough work next week? Or what if the contracts dry up? Or what if there's a dry spell? Or what if the market changes? Whatever that fear-based driving force or decision is, you may take on as much work as you can right now. Oh, hey, Vuncia, how you doing? Good to see you. Thanks for joining. But what you might do is you might take on more work than you can really handle because you're afraid you might not have it later. But the irony to this is that you really just end up creating less quality work, and due to that, you might end up losing some of your clients as well. So the best thing to do in this case is you want to be able to find a way where you can increase the quality of work, increase the quantity of work as the same time as lowering the amount of work that you're actually doing. And you might be thinking, Matt, that's how am I going to increase quality and quantity and actually work less? Well, the answer is pretty simple. You outsource, right? There's a ton of websites out there, freelance websites. One that actually my company, I have a very successful digital marketing agency that we've used for years and have had some really good outsourcing work done, is actually Fiverr. Believe it or not, they started many, many years ago by doing just $5 gigs, but now there's so many professionals that actually work there and offer services. So finding a way to leverage your time and money to get more work done is better than taking on as much work as you can. Happy New Year to you, Vincia, as well. Great to connect with you again. So make sure that you're making the most of your time and using outsourcing or maybe hiring a virtual assistant to maximize the output that you're generating, and that is one way you can reduce burnout. Now, the second one is oversleeping. Now, you might be thinking like, what, Matt? How does oversleeping make me burned out or contribute to burnout? Well, the reason being is because it creates this vicious cycle. See, if you oversleep, then the amount of work that you have to get done in the day is still the same amount. So what that does is that ends up pushing you to work late at night, 11, 12, 1 o'clock at night, and then it creates this vicious cycle. You go to sleep, and then you're tired and groggy when you wake up, so you hit the snooze a million times, and then you get back to work. I know I was in this cycle probably from 2010 all the way to 2014 with my video production and advertising agency that I started in 2009. I was what many people would classify a night owl. And so I fell into this cycle of oversleeping. I would sleep in and I wouldn't start my work till late, but then that forced me to get to sleep late, and it was really hard to keep up with. And I did actually end up burning out in 2016. So how can you remedy this? Well, with oversleeping, it really just takes a little bit of discipline, right? You have to find that hour where you can get to sleep, get a good night's rest, and wake up and still be productive. For me personally, I get to bed between 11 and midnight every night, and I only need 6.5 hours of sleep. I have an Aura ring here, and this Aura ring actually tracks my sleep. It tracks my activities through the day, how active I was and wasn't, and so on and so forth. And it kind of cues me through the day to do certain things. But the most important thing is that over the weeks and months, I've had it for almost a year now, that it tracks me. It tells me that my optimal sleep time is about 6.5 hours. So as long as I'm in bed by 11:30, then I can get up at 6 o'clock, 6:15, start my morning routine, and I am good to go. So one of the things you might want to be aware of as an entrepreneur is oversleeping. So try and maybe set an alarm. And one tip that I use actually is, and I just use the natural resources of our brain and the way that we work to help me wake up, is I open up the window, or actually the blind, so that way the sun or the light comes through whenever morning starts happening. And what happens is that blue light from the morning sun actually creates dopamine and serotonin, and that begins to wake you up naturally. And what this does is, if you do have the kind of urge that we all do at times to hit the snooze button, well, you're not going to be staying in bed too much longer because light's still coming in through. So that's one thing. Now let's move over to number 3. And for those of you that are just joining, I'm sharing with you 5 things that actually cause entrepreneurs and work from home professionals to burn out. And I have a new book that's being published across the whole nation, Barnes and Nobles. It's going to be on Amazon. It's actually going to be in the libraries as well. And it is a book called Kicking Ass and Taking Names: The Ultimate Guide to Mastering Your Day Without Burning Out. And that's really just a cumulative of 12 years of experience of being a work from home entrepreneur and being able to figure out the right techniques and the balance of things, so that way I can consistently perform at a high level and still feel pretty awesome at the end of the day, at the end of the week, and not burn out. So number 3, the third one that we're going to go into here is a night's out, like going out at night with your friends and partying. Now, I am not saying that you should not be going out and having a good time with your friends, albeit it's probably a lot less than it used to be due to COVID and everything. But if you're in an area now where you still are able to go out to restaurants or bars with limited capacity, you might find that you're going out. Maybe some of your friends that you're going out with, maybe they're working from home, but they have traditional jobs, which causes them to still, even though they're working in their pajamas, they still have to kind of clock in, right? Whereas you might be like, hey, I work for myself. I don't really have to, I'm my own boss. I don't really have to get up at any time. So you're like, well, hey, I can drink a little bit more. I can stay out a little bit later. And this kind of really makes it harder to get up in the morning. It makes it harder to get you going and have your clarity of mind, because you do need a certain amount of sleep to kind of clear out all the ATP that's been, the ATP that's been the adrenaline that's been built up over the day, which inhibits your brain cells and all of your neural pathways. So you need enough sleep to be able to clean that out. And if you don't get enough sleep, you end up waking groggy. And again, you might feel like, hey, I'm the boss. But if you want to be productive and you want to work and get a lot done more than other people without burning out, then you probably want to maybe be a little disciplined and keep your night out to maybe just, on Friday night or Saturday night when you can sleep in the morning and not so much during the week, and taking advantage of that happy hour like I used to do so many times. Trust me. Now, number four is disrespect. Now, you might be thinking, well, what's disrespect have to do with causing burnout for a professional or for an entrepreneur, really, or a work from home business owner or what have you? Well, the thing is that a lot of people and clients might think, it's not so much that they want to really disrespect you, but they might think that because you do work your own schedule, that you can they can essentially reach out to you anytime you want. And I don't know if we have any people here. Hey, Joan, thanks for the thumbs up. I don't know if we have any people here that do own their own business, and especially a service-based business. You probably have experienced that where your client emails you and it's like 9 o'clock at night or 5 o'clock in the morning, or it's on the weekend, and they just kind of think that because you work for yourself, that, oh, well, you know what, they work for themselves and I can kind of reach out to them anytime I want. Now, again, they're not doing this maliciously, but what happens here is that it's really important that, and this was something that took many years for me to understand and really implement in my businesses, is that you have to set your own open and closed hours. And you have to treat your business like a real business. And if you had a brick and mortar business and you were open at 9 a.m. and you closed at 7, well, if somebody came to the door and you were closed, well, you were closed. They'd have to come back tomorrow. It's not a new concept. And so one thing that I found that was happening with us around 2016, 2017 is that I always wanted to be available because I wanted my clients to be impressed with how quickly we got back to things. And that just created a vicious cycle and really an abuse in many ways. So I ended up saying, hey, you know what? We only reply to emails or customer support or take phone calls between these hours and these hours. And once we started taking our business very seriously, then our clients, quote unquote, really fell in line, really. And it wasn't hard for them to grasp the concept of open and closed hours. And so if you are a work from home professional, or you're thinking about venturing into starting your own business and working from home, it is one of the most important things that you can do, is take your business seriously, set open hours, set closed hours. What time are you going to be in front of the desk? What time is open time for you? You're going to open up that laptop. Is it 9 o'clock? Are you going to close down at 5? Is it going to be 6? Or is it going to be 8 to 4? Whatever your time is, figure out what that's going to be and stick to it. And you'll find the more serious you take your business, the more serious your clients will take you as well. Okay, number 5, this is the most important thing that causes, or the biggest, I should say, the biggest thing that causes burnout for not only entrepreneurs, but also work from home professionals. So if you, due to COVID, if you had a job that now you have been moved to work from home or work remotely, this is something I know that you have experienced too. And this is not switching off or not being able to switch off. See, excuse me, and we used to actually have an office too in downtown Denver. Whenever you would go to work, and when you're done with work, you close the office doors and you're driving home, if you forget something or if you forget to do something, well, the chances that you're going to drive back to the office or go back into work to get it done are slim. You'll be like, you know what, I'll take care of it first thing in the morning. However, if you're home and work is just as far as a tablet or a laptop, or maybe you have, like I do, I have my office upstairs and it's just a little couple steps away, it's really easy for you to say, oh man, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and fix this, even though it might be 8:30 or 9 o'clock at night. Whereas before, you might have just said, you know what, I'll handle that first thing in the morning. Now, whenever I was writing my book, it took me about a year to write my book, Kicking Ass and Taking Names. And I spoke with and interviewed so many, over 100 entrepreneurs and business owners. And one of the biggest things that they all had in common was not being able to turn off. One of the challenges that all of them faced was, how do I begin to just kind of shut down at the end of the day? and it becomes almost addictive. I know for me it was addictive. I was addicted to my email. I was addicted to social media because we were building a brand on social media, and it was a really hard thing to do to be able to find that balance. And so finding that time, or what it is, or what day, what time of evening is it that you're just going to shut off, and being able to switch off is so key and so important to reducing and even eliminating burnout as a work from home professional, a business owner, an entrepreneur, a solopreneur, whatever you want to call yourself. If you work from home now, I urge you to, again, employ a little bit of discipline in your life. And at the end of the day, take 30 minutes to wind down. And I talk a lot more about this in my book. And I also, there's a lot of deeply researched science that I use, some brain hacks based on neuroscience to really help kind of wind down at the end of the day, get a really good night's sleep, and ramp up really quickly in the morning to boost your productivity. So I'm really excited about my book. Thanks for timely reminder. Great tips. Great. Thank you. I'm glad that you enjoy it, Vincia. So I go into all of this a lot deeper into my book. It's coming out. It's going to be published on January 15th. And however, if you would like to get it as soon as it's ready, which will be here in a few days, you can go ahead to the link newbook.themattaponte.com. You can put in your name and email, and you'll get an email as soon as the book is ready to be released, so you can be one of the first ones to get your hands on it. And for all those people that do sign up, I have an additional bonus that I'm giving you too. I have, over the last 3 years, worked on a productivity planner, and I have come up with what I feel is the best productivity planner that I love, and it's really just a accumulation of all the planners I've used over the years. And so for those that go to the link, newbook.themattaponte.com, that is newbook.themattaponte.com, you can go there and sign up, and you'll also receive the productivity planner with the purchase of your book at no additional cost. So go ahead and make sure that if you like the content that I'm sharing with you, thank you very much, Vinci. I'm really excited about the book and being released, and finally becoming a published author. This is something that's been posted on my vision board for a little over a year now, and it's one of those things I'll be able to take off and mark off as achieved. So I'm really excited about that. It's a 154 page book. Again, for those that are just joining or you didn't catch it before, it's called Kicking Ass and Taking Names: The Ultimate Guide to Mastering Your Day Without Burning Out. And I've put really just so much work, so much research in there. And it's really easy to follow and to take a lot of the things, or all of the things that I share with you in there, and implement them. You can implement them immediately. And that was the biggest thing. The biggest goal for the book was to give you something that's not just good to read, informative, but actionable steps all throughout the book that you can take, put into your life, so that way you can also operate at a very high level without experiencing burnout. So imagine that you're able to get more done than all of your friends or competitors, and at the end of the week you still felt great. At the end of the week you still felt like you kicked ass. You were able to take some names, and you still had plenty of energy left over for the rest of the life that you still have to live with your family, with your friends, for your hobbies, and all of those things. So go check it out. You can sign up at newbook.themattaponte.com. Also, be sure, if you like the content that I'm sharing with you, I'm going to be sharing content 3 days a week, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays from here on out. In writing this book over the last year, there was so much that I couldn't fit in the book. So I have so much content that I'm going to be sharing with everybody. So make sure you subscribe. If you like this, please like, and you can hit the bell. This is also going to show up on YouTube as well. So you can find me on YouTube, The Matt Aponte, and you can also find me on Facebook, The Matt Aponte as well. And I'm also going to be launching a new podcast. Also going to be launching a new collaborative effort called ISO Tones, which help you to achieve your highest productivity levels and sleep better. And it's all through a much newer version of binaural beats. And I get into that in my book as well. And I'm going to be talking about that more in the weeks to come. So thank you guys. It was great talking with you all. I hope you found value. Make sure you like, subscribe, share with your friends.